My name is Marshall Lynn. I'm here visiting from Bloomington, Indiana, where I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Bloomington. So nice to meet all of you. Oh, yeah.
I'm Sharon Johnson. It's a vanilla kind of name, but I'm not a vanilla person. Anyway, I'm here visiting as a guest of Christy and Rich, and my daughter's going to join us, I hope soon. And I'm very happy to be here.
Glenn cleaned our social room carpet. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that reminds me, as I turn my order of service around and look at the top, it says November 16th, our volunteers. So we are essentially run on a volunteer program. Our settled minister, Reverend Holley Brown, is away today. Reverend Holley will be back next week, but I'm so delighted to see that every for a volunteer for any of these positions, please let us know. And the announcement today is the deadline for reservations for the UUFC Thanksgiving dinner so that the quantity can be prepared. So Alan is here. Alan, is Barbara here?
No.
So you can talk to Alan or reach out to Barbara. He is so excited to come to Thanksgiving. Thank you for this community that you are nurturing. So Thanksgiving's coming up. Let's see. Oh, the mitten tree that's mentioned down at the bottom. We are collecting scarves, socks, hats to present to the tree, not the mittens. And so we just want to think about Carol with warm thoughts as we use that mitten tree to donate for this good cause. This week, Janie Shipley is facilitating the meal to Our Daily Rest. And so if you want to be a part of, not this month, because this month is taken care of, but if you want to be a part of the Our Daily Rest team, please talk to Janie. Janie, thank you so much. And toward the bottom of the page, you see World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day is actually December 1st, but our fellowship is holding an event to recognize World AIDS Day on December 7th. That's a Sunday. After the service, we're going to show a seminar about AIDS and serve pizza to talk about AIDS over pizza. So we hope that you will be able to come. Do we want to talk about this Tuesday at the library board? No? Then we won't. Talk to Gordon if you want to know more information about that. Please. You are beloved and you Welcome here. Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful, have been forced beyond doing your promises. You are beloved and you are welcome here. Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment, you are beloved and you are welcome here. In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together. And let's start by singing hymn number 121, Stand as You Are Willing or Able. Thank you. We sound pretty good today. Talia, may I invite you to come and light our chalice for us, please? Thank you. Good morning. As Talia lights the chalice, let's read the words of affirmation together, please. We gather together in a spirit of love, with justice as our guide. This is our chosen covenant, to seek the truth with freedom and to care for one another. Thank you. Karen.
Good morning. Our story this morning is in keeping with our theme, as always, and this is a story about a little girl who's traveling with her father, and she doesn't really know why she's traveling or where they're going, but she pays attention to some of the things she sees along the way. So our story this morning is Two White Rabbits by Jairo Buitrego, pictures by Raphael Yachteng. When we travel, I count what I see. I wonder if the little girl is counting the chickens. They're on the river instead of on the bridge above. What those people are doing. And if I get tired, I look up and count the clouds. I learned to count to 100. I wonder why all of those people are riding on top of the train instead of inside the train. Some of the clouds have shapes. They are swans, they are trees, they are rabbits. When we travel, I also sleep, and I dream that I am moving, that I'm not stopping. But we do stop, because the people who are taking us don't always take us where we are going. No one answers. We wait on the side of the highway. We aren't traveling right now. There is a boy. I count. One. There isn't any other. Papa works while we wait, just the same as usual. The boy stays with me. We count the cars that go by, the dogs that go by. The truck that is going to take us arrives. The boy and his grandmother look at us the way people we meet on the road look at us. Goodbye, says the boy, his grandmother too, and they give me the box. Where are we going? I ask again, but they don't answer. Sometimes, when I'm not sleeping, I count the stars. There are thousands like people, and I count the moon. It is alone. Sometimes I see soldiers, but I don't count them anymore. There are about 100. We are back on the road, and I have 2 white rabbits. I wonder what's on the other side of that wall.
And I asked our ushers to just hold off just a moment. What we collect in the offering plate is shared with keeping UUFC going, and 25% of the undesignated funds go to one of our at this time. Also, I see bags and cans. We bring food. Heidi will reach out to some of us and say, this is how much the food weighed that we took. And I was especially touched with Heidi's last report, because Heidi said there were so many people there. this together. Thank you for your generous contributions, both with your money and with your food. And I want to, UUA sent that I want to share just real quickly. And it comes from Frances Moore LePay. Remember Diet for a Small Planet? So this was not from that. This is from her essay about food. Frances Moore LePay wrote, "To me, democracy is an exciting, living practice, what we do every day. To most, democracy doesn't relate to our daily lives, and it sure isn't much fun. I now see that to engage in democracy, to jump into this living practice, we all need something tangible to act on. Because food is our most primal need and our common bond to the earth and to each other, it can ground us as we stretch ourselves to draw in all the interlaced threads so that we can weave a whole meaningful picture for ourselves. With courage events so powerful that they can jar us out of our ordinary ways of seeing the world and open us to new who last week amended our little free library up on the street there. Now the top shelf are books to share, and the bottom part is non-perishable food. Thank you.
Not, okay. Oh, they're there. Thank you. Okay, you want to get it when it's done? Okay. This is the time in our service when we share our joys and concerns within the community. The first one comes from Paula Husingfeld. Her joy is, my sister Ginger is recovering from a 6-hour surgery to replace 3 breaks on her left leg. Wow. Good thoughts to Ginger. A lot of us know Ginger. Elaine Fredendall has a joy. I want to mention one of UU's unsung heroes, Martha Alexander, who has been sending birthday cards on behalf of our congregation for years. Thank you, Martha. And thank you, Elaine, for holding her up. Meg Williamson says, we had a lovely day for our grounds volunteers last week. Many thanks to all. Dave Sanders' joy is UUFC has an approved intergenerational account with Nike. Nike? So, With Duke, yeah. Interconnection with Duke. This means our excess solar energy generated by those panels up there I'm sorry, my eyes are not very good today. Exported. Okay, exported to the grid. Thank you, Dave. That was a great project. Yes. Susan Pierce, her joy is my husband, David Friedman, is returning tomorrow. We met when he was 19.
My husband, David Friedman,
Yeah.
is turning 70.
Oh, it's a 70 I had trouble reading. So,
He was 19.
okay, 70. Wow. Cool. And Carol's friends, Carol Ward remains in Seneca Health and Rehab, and visitors are encouraged. And then we'll have one final stone for those joys and sorrows that go unexpressed among those present and among those with us on the screen. And now we will sing the children on the way. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. On behalf of the Social Action Team, I have been invited to share a stewardship moment. I'm happy to do that. Back in ancient days, I was finance chair for five blessed years and had stewardship as well as finance and treasurer and everything. So I really appreciate anybody that succeeded me to that sometimes not thankless, but unthanked and unrecognized tasks. So thanks to Larry, who's our current treasurer. One of my favorite books is about the subject of hope, and I'm drawing a blank on the author, but what she said was really meaningful. She said, optimism and pessimism are both wrong. What we need is hope, but we need active hope. Action team. And to understand what kinds of things we can do to be helpful, to make things better. But it shouldn't end with education. It should begin with education. So what kind of action do we have? Well, first of all, we have, anytime you spend your money, you should pause and think, how is this going to make the world a better place? Now, it may just fulfill my appetite, which is something you have to do, but the ways you spend your money make a difference. The ways you contribute money, if you patronize firms that are being responsible for care of the earth, things like that. That's one form of action. A direct action team, education for children from low-income families. Another form of action is advocacy, finding out what issues are before Congress, the state legislature, and the city council, and telling them what you think. They listen. They don't always respond, but they do listen. And advocacy is an important part of what we do, and we've been helped for the last 2 years in being effective advocates by becoming a part of the 10-congregation South Carolina Unitarian Universalist Justice Alliance, also known as SCUJA. And SCUJA keeps us up to date on developments in the legislature, tells us what the bill number is, always a good thing to know, tells us who's on the committee, always a good thing to know, in case it's one of your legislators, and making some points about so it makes it easy to advocate. And sometimes they're only counting numbers. Oh yeah, 25 people who called today and 24 of them were against the bill. Maybe I should rethink my position. So advocacy is very, very important. Protests are important. And we've been very active in protests. And individual actions, not just the church having social panels, but if you can put them in your house. There's a thing called balcony solar that can reduce reliance on fossil fuels. So there's lots of things that you can do to express your active hope, and it's the purpose of the Social Action Team, which has a very small budget, most of which goes to our membership to SCUJA, as Kathy can testify when she wanted money for pizza.
Not just for me.
No, it was not a personal pan pizza. It was a group pizza. Right. Yes, but anyway, these are some of the things we do in social action. We don't exist solely for social action. We exist because it is a community. It's not enough to come here and worship, which I keep explaining to people, is not bowing down before God. Worship is holding up that which is of worth, holding up our values. And having held them up, then we're called to go out and act on them. So that's our stewardship moment. And now I'm going to introduce our speaker for the day. Our speaker was brought to us actually courtesy of Barbara Speziali, who she works with on King's Hospitality Table for you to enjoy. Courtesy of Barbara and her husband. Professor of English and the leader of ECAR, which stands for Every Campus a Refuge. And this is a group that works with refugees. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela, and she's going to speak, and then she's going to introduce one of her students who will tell us more about what they're doing.
Yes, yes. You'll have a beautiful reprieve in between with the music.
Right.
Thank you so much, Holley. I'm just going to put out some of these and maybe pass them around, but I'll say more about that in a second. Hi, hello. Thank you. What a beautiful, it's so So, hello, marhaba, salam, and in Aramaic we would say shalom alochun, which is peace on you and with you. It's really lovely to be here, and thanks again to Barbara for the invitation and for UUFC leadership for working with us so that we have a chance to share a little. But I'll just begin with a simple description of what ECAR is. Every Campus a Refuge at Clemson, it's the only service learning project at the university dedicated to local refugee resettlement support and welcome. We help refugee families with their transition to life in the United States and in Clemson. And we do that in a number of ways. One core way is students will visit the homes of refugee families and really respond to the family's own priorities. Maybe there was a disruption in education. Maybe it's English language learning. Maybe it's figuring out how to get on that cat bus and do things, even if you've come from Jakarta, which was the case for one family. They were like, where am I? I'm in a village. I was in this big city, and now I don't know how to use this bus system. They learned really quickly, but we're really there to work together. We're co-creators, truly, truly. The students, faculty, me, and really anybody who's interested is always welcome. And so we've kind of formed small teams, friends, who make these regular visits to people's homes, and they always welcome us in, which is a beautiful thing. We also help teach English language learning. We offer homework help for kids. We play and hang out, and we have various intercultural events that are open to all. ECAR at Clemson also partners with local community organizations. So there was a resettlement agency that's largely been defunded, but is still trying to help and serve their clients, and a new nonprofit, Refugee Hope Upstate, which teaches classes, and we are is really our larger goal, and that's with our friends, our refugee friends, our longtime residents, students that come in for a few years and go on to do amazing things afterwards. And in that spirit, we also want to begin sharing stories and listening to each other. And so we started a community-centered refugee oral history and storytelling project. And beyond the service learning, there's a student org, and they have a lot of fun. And they also are something like a social justice committee with tasks specifically to create events, to fundraise, and to really understand that we're all shaped by migration stories and experiences, and also the kindness of people. And so they're wonderful, and they are really just expanding this culture of welcome. And ICAR, sorry, I'm starting with all of this, like, just here we go, this is what it is. We join a national movement for colleges and universities to step up and help communities with refugee resettlement. We think it's a basic function of being good neighbors, of being human in the world, and of establishing a relation to the world that is open and flourishing, really, and life-affirming. And so we're really part of that national network. And its name is Every Campus a Refuge. We've created what Every Campus a Refuge looks like at Clemson. And it's been wonderful. And if you'll forgive me, this is not a big lecture, but I'd like to just reflect a little bit on the name, Every Campus a Refuge. It has scared some people, rightly so, because the word campus can become a target, but so can the word refuge. Not here. This is such a beautiful space to really think through this. But it's gotten me to revisit this meaning in the term refuge. You know, at its simplest, it means a place of shelter, protected from danger, a place of comfort. It also means a sanctuary, a space considered sacred because it protects something core to humanity. But refuge is always more than a place or a space. It's an idea with global histories, and it's an everyday, utterly ordinary practice. A refuge is made by what we do. It's a process and an experience. It's a long welcome grounded in that humanity. And if it means welcoming the stranger, for me that means that we welcome each other, the stranger as ourselves and ourselves as the stranger. Visiting immigrants in detention, held at the Stewart Detention Center with students many years ago, really brought this in its fullness to me. We stayed at a hospitality house. They practice radical hospitality. It's called El Refugio, the refuge. And it advocates for families. It provides a place for them to stay when they're visiting the loved ones in the nearby detention center in Lumpkin, Georgia, in a remote place. And visit with those who are in detention who wanted to be visited. And we learned many stories there. I hope I can share them. But we also saw, and what it also taught me, was that there's so much that we can do, and so much joy in actually practicing active hope. I really like this concept, because that's what we do. We're really focused on what we can offer, what we can put into practice, what we can help, and knowing that it's never a one-directional, but it's actually a beautiful collaboration with anyone at any moment that you've decided to share this effort with. And so ICAR really has been a joyful practice, and it's a pretty rare opportunity. I can speak about the many millions of people who have refugee status, the many, many more who are not granted refugee status, the problems with resettlement, less than 1% of the world's refugees with that status ever have a hope, actually, of arriving to a country where there's a path to citizenship. And so it feels insurmountable. And I studied, I'm a scholar of literature and migration. It was ICAR and earlier the visits to Stewart Detention Center that helped me really understand study and practice together, and the joy of students who know what it means to actually help each other and to help others at a pretty important transitional time in their lives. So I'll say a little bit about that, but I'll come back to refuge. The campus is Al-Haram Al-Jami'a. Literally, it means a refuge or a sanctuary where people come together to learn. And our spaces for learning freely, anywhere, and putting it into practice are important but fragile. They're worth protecting. And so are acts of kindness to a neighbor. So how do you make refuge in the smallest ways? Forgive me again, because this isn't about the refugee work we do with ICAR, but it's just one of the ways I've kind of come back to thinking about my own context and my purpose as I work with students and with many wonderful friends who are longtime residents in the area. I grew up with an Iraqi breakfast and American breakfast, and sometimes at the same table the same day, because we would have the joy of a full breakfast. And so there would be delicious gamer, heavy clotted cream. There would be wonderful bacon, eggs, whatever. But there was always cream cheese on pita bread. And I thought my mom was improvising this. It was never missing from the table. And it made sense. She was born in Iraq, she went to Iran, and from there she came to the United States. And it was decades of, having this at her table, always, this cream cheese and bread, before I understood how this came to be. And it came to be because my mom arrived as a teenager. She was missing her mom, and she was taking care of her dad and her brother. She felt what many of our refugee friends feel. The food doesn't taste right. The vegetables taste different. The fruits don't have the same kind of sweetness. She found herself really not eating, and she was losing a lot of weight. And so people were pretty concerned about her. And of course, her loss came through in that desire to not eat. Until cream cheese. And I will say clotted cream was always tastes better to me, but not to her. Really, this was a joy. And it was just the small kindness, the act of hope of a neighbor who noticed this little teen girl needed to eat and had her try something. And decades later, this is still her favorite breakfast food. So you don't really know. This is true of teachers, neighbors, every action, every day. You really don't know what people carry with them from that moment. And, it can be terrible. It can be terrible. Stuart reminds me of that. It can be terrible with exclusion, expulsion at the heart of a system, at the heart of your motive. Or it can be this. It can be just one of the most treasured, wonderful, and simple acts that you happen to do, and maybe, I don't know if that neighbor remembers it. She probably doesn't, but my mom, to this day, this is close to her heart. And so ICAR has also changed, my experience of living here. I've been here for almost 20 years. And I know that we inhabit a land that's heavy with stories of forced departures, forced arrivals over centuries. But this work has helped me reconnect with how beautiful and ordinary the rhythms of a college town, forget the development issues, but the students, really how beautiful those rhythms can be as a place of arrivals and departures, always within a place with a long-time community. ICAR has helped me see these years for students in new ways. So here they are at a formative time in their lives, a transition that, again, one hopes will be wonderful and substantial, but it can feel removed from a broader community. And yet it's going to be formative. Their years here. They are welcomed by families who are at their own transitional time in their lives, one after very difficult journeys, as the story of Two White Rabbits can evoke for us, and that was a beautiful story. And a vulnerable, but also really full of hopes and ambitions and desires. To have these two groups at transitional times of their lives come together and help each other has been amazing and wonderful and an ongoing gift. But the truth is we're all at different transitional moments in our lives. At different times, you know that the trajectory, the arc of your experience, it shifted. It shifted because of somebody's kindness. It shifted because of time. It shifted because somebody was just with you, walking alongside you, maybe not even sharing anything new or teaching you anything at all. That's where I think this kind of welcome is not specific only to people who arrive through federal or state programs. It's really a practice, and when it's embedded in your way of being in the world, it's the easiest thing in the world to try and to understand, why this matters. All of these different meanings of refuge come together for me in ICAR. And really at the heart are people who are coming together, learning from each other, discovering things, laughing about things together, and also making the practical difference between being able to continue to go to school or to regain a job that you had lost. As one of our friends, a truck driver from Ukraine, came here hoping to continue in this path, and he didn't have the English to pass the test, but he knew how to drive trucks. And so we worked together. He worked really hard, and I'm really happy and welcoming the people who helped teach him English. It's beautiful, and we learned about trucks. I did a little, my friend, it's really amazing. So it really does bring the joy of re-encountering even what you think you know so well, and that you don't even notice it anymore. It helps us to notice. Students also, I have to say, have been leaders. I've been their collaborator, facilitator, but it's really students. They've done amazing things, and I only say that because they're not always expected to. They're expected to come into some program that's all set up. For example, one student, he met with a Senegalese family for almost a year, and he recently won a Boren Fellowship, a very important scholarship that helps him study in Senegal, and it's an experience he wouldn't have been able to have otherwise. It's a way of connecting whatever it is we do to the world. There are many, many other wonderful things, and I won't do cheers right now for that, but it's really helped me understand what's substantial at a time when the idea that people should study and maybe not connect it to the world, not connect their study to what they can do and practice and bring the heart, the hand together. I think that ICAR at Clemson shows how actually wonderfully powerful we are in the best ways when we embrace active hope. I want to give a shout out also to any of us who have helped informally. You might have helped a family, your own family, interpret things at the doctor's office, or help with a legal claim. Or I have many first-generation students, I'm also one, who have entered this work and understand that actually they've been doing something really important all along. It just was never part of what counted as their education or as their accomplishments. And it's transformed what they understand of themselves. And then we have beautiful little stories. I just want to share a tiny one of a young person who arrived in Clemson without her family. She arrived in Clemson without her family and after an extremely difficult journey. And she had no English. She loved Persian poetry as a child. She was taken out of school, and she didn't know how she could continue. She worked really hard, and ICAR students worked with her, and she is a senior in high school right now. Not only that, she can breathe. You can see her flourish. And she's applied to colleges, and she even got one acceptance already, and they're rolling in. But it's really amazing what any of us are capable of. And Clemson will have been that formative place of arrival and of support. And finally, I'm afraid I took too long. I will just actually end not with my words, but I will share a story from a very good friend named Babi Sarwari. She's one of the first to arrive to Clemson in 2021 after the US evacuated from Afghanistan and the Taliban reclaimed control over the country. This is the reason why ICAR at Clemson began. It was that there was a real, genuine need, and it was new. As refugees began resettling in this area, we received a call to help, many times from refugees themselves. Bobby has been working and is fulfilling a dream of hers with 3 amazingly skilled makers named Friba, Narges, and Malika. They've founded a sewing co-op. Proceeds go directly to the makers, and we were able to, I was able to get some of their work. And I just want to pass it around, if you like. I don't know, just so you can feel it, it's so beautiful. And I'll also share this artwork by a wonderful Palestinian artist, and it's artwork, Cada campus en un refugio, every campus a refuge, if you like. Okay. So I had asked her to speak at an event, and I said it would be great if you could say a little of whatever you want to share. She said, I can't tell you about, I'm not ready. I can't tell you about my migration story of how you're here. And we never push anybody, actually, to tell any stories they don't want to offer. But she said, after a few days, she called me and said, Angela, I woke up. I woke up at 5 a.m., and the first thing I did, I had to write this down. It all came to me very suddenly in a flash. And it turns out that it's the story for her of how Threads of Hope began. And so if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share that. So this is from Babi Sarwari. What do you want to be when you grow up? A question many of us asked over and over again. We dreamed of becoming teachers, doctors, pilots, artists, because we were told you can be anything you want to be. But imagine never being asked that question. You were born in a valley surrounded by mountains far from here in Afghanistan. You remember hearing that question asked to your brothers, but never to you, because you were expected to become your mother, who became her mother before her, and so you did. But it was different for your daughter. She went to school. She graduated from high school. You asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up, and you told her, you can become anything you want. And then the world changed again. The Taliban returned. Girls were banned from school, from work, from dreaming. This time you could not endure. You left everything familiar, your mountains, your family, your friends, for the hope of a better future for your children. You took the hard road of immigration. It was not easy, but you made it. You arrived in a land that is safe, kind, and free, but also different. Different language, different culture, different weather, different expectations. You were told that you must work. You wanted to, but every door seemed to close. You didn't speak English, you didn't know how to read or write, and you didn't know how to navigate this modern world. Still, you told yourself, I will not give up. You remembered. You were never nothing. You had built a home. You had raised a family. Hope from your mountain, and you stretched them across the ocean, weaving a new story. You began to make things again. Embroidered bags, handmade dresses, crocheted scarves, woven beauty. You became what you were always meant to be, a maker. And today, and every day, as we celebrate these creations, these stitches, these colors, these dreams, we are not just admiring the work of the hand. We are honoring the strength of the spirit, the courage of women who lost everything, and yet somehow made something beautiful again. Thank you so much.
When holding your breath is safer than breathing, when letting go is braver than keeping, when innocent words turn to lies, and you can't hide by closing your eyes, when pain is all that they offer, like a kiss from the lips of a monster. You know the famine so well, but never met the feast, when home is the belly of the beast. The ocean is wild and over your head, and the boat beneath you is sinking. Don't need room for your bags. Hope is all that you have. So say the Lord's Prayer twice. Hold your babies tight. Surely someone will reach out a hand and show you a safe place to land. Oh, imagine yourself in a building, up in flames, being told to stand still. The windows wide open, this leap is on faith. You don't know who will catch you, but maybe somebody will. The ocean is wild and over your head, and the boat beneath you is sinking. Don't need room for your bags. Hope is all that you have. So say the Lord's Prayer twice. Hold your babies tight. Surely someone will reach out a hand and show you a safe place to land. Be the hand of a hopeful stranger, a little scared, but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger, till the sun comes up. Be the hand of a hopeful stranger, a little scared, but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger, till the sun comes up. Be the hand of a hopeful stranger, little scared, but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger, till the sun comes up. 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 Till the sun comes up.
I think that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm not going to speak for another 10 or so minutes. Right now, I'm just here to welcome and introduce Tulsi Patel. This is a wonderful student at Clemson who has been a really key part of ICAR. And so she has worked at in various ways, training, thinking about the Center for Family Medicine in Seneca. She has plans to go into medical school. There's so many other amazing things that I could say about Tulsi, but probably best is for you to listen to her. So if you could please welcome Tulsi.
Hello, everyone. It is so incredibly wonderful to join you all today. I'm so in awe of the wonderful warmth in the room today. And thank you all for the wonderful work that you all do in various sectors in Clemson. As Dr. Naimou so wonderfully introduced, my name is Tulsi Patel. I'm a current junior at Clemson University, and I'm majoring in philosophy with plans to go into medicine. And Dr. Naimou is incredibly humble. She is one of the main reasons why I joined ICAR and is truly the heart behind our work. So I'm so grateful to be able to be here and share a little bit more about our work from the student perspective. So I first joined ICAR about 2 years ago in my second semester of my freshman year. And I didn't know much about refugee resettlement in Clemson, frankly, that it was even happening to begin with. But I heard some of my friends who were involved in some of this work, and I had to know more. As a second was truly the most beautiful place for me to do that. And so through research at Clemson, but whenever I'm talking about ICAR, it's not so much research as it is a family. So we meet once a week as a CI with all of our other students, and Dr. Naimou leads us, and we learn about detailed things related to refugee resettlement. We learn about the difference between what it means to integrate someone and assimilate them. And what we really want to do with ICAR is focus on the integration. We hope that the families that we work with don't forget their roots, but are rather able to sort of interweave them and ground them with new experiences here in Clemson. As Dr. Naimou mentioned, refugees here in Clemson face many struggles. There's a completely new language landscape for most of them. A lot of our families speak multiple languages, but English is drastically different than any of the languages that they do know. And so that's one of the places where we step in. There's also complicated systems, which I'm sure all of us, even as English speakers, struggle with. Things like booking a doctor's appointment, enrolling your kid in elementary school. All these sort of systems require an additional sort of background to sort of help people work through that process, and we're so grateful to be a part of that. Mental health is also a large thing. We hope to connect our families with events and opportunities and, of course, professional help in the case that they are struggling with the sort of history that they have, and sort of being able to create that into a beautiful life. And then, of course, housing, which we also work with our resettlement agency to sort of work through. And a lot of the times, a lot of these struggles go unheard, and so we hope that with ECAR, we're able to sort of listen to those concerns. And as much as we are being a part of what we call the circle of welcome, we also hope to integrate more people into that. So Dr. Naimou touched on this. Through ECAR, we work on weekly home visits. So I'm actually going to mine later today, but we're assigned a family and we visit them and work on essentially whatever they need. So most of the time, this means we're working on English practice. We can go through worksheets or books or videos. And like I mentioned, I had no professional experience before this in teaching English, so it really goes to show that this is a learning experience that anyone can get involved in if it's something you're passionate about. Sometimes it means working in other ways, like recreational play. A lot of the times we have younger kids and families and we go out and kick a soccer ball around with them, or just hear what's going on at school so that they can have an older mentor to sort of speak to and learn more about what they want to do with their lives. A lot of the times it's just being an ear to listen, because that is one of the most helpful things that we can provide in a world that's sort of speaking at you most of the time. So through ECAR, I found that even the smallest homes can hold the biggest hearts, that despite sometimes even just speaking in fragments of a language, we can hear whole stories, and that seeking refuge is really a mutual connection that involves vulnerability, learning, and kindness. And so I mentioned this concept of a circle of welcome. And so being a part of this circle of welcome, we have many students from ECAR, we have people in the community, part of different religious groups, and we also have the resettlement agency. And so being a part of this circle of welcome surely means that we are providing welcome, but I have also been welcomed, and I'm sure whoever is part of our group has also a similar sentiment. I've been welcomed with hugs and kind smiles every time I go visit my family, and I missed you, all of these sorts of things that really help you find your place in Clemson. I've been welcomed with the most delicious food or tea and biscuits, the aroma of which still clings to my clothes and give me a sense of home here in Clemson. And I've been welcomed with pure joy, respect, and enthusiasm, which has all given me a sense of purpose that I owe to ECAR. So these beautiful learning experiences are really unique to ECAR. I don't think my college experience would have been what it is without the work that we're doing. And what I love especially about ECAR is how we love to share stories in an ethical way, of course. And this is what I'd love to share with you all today, little tidbits from the time that I've spent with ECAR. The first, I currently work with a family that has a young girl. She is the youngest of her many siblings. And at first, when I started working with her, she didn't speak any English. Somehow we connected. She was always attached to my hip whenever I would come visit. She would love to watch TV with me or go outside and play, but we didn't really have much of a connection through language. But in the year that I've worked with her, she now sits next to her mom when we tutor her for English, and she can read small sentences with us. She's able to speak with me in full sentences, completely in awe. I'm always in awe of that, and she's learning to read. And it is just such a beautiful experience to see how in 1 year you can see that much of a change, and the commitment that these kids are putting in to really, really learn how to grow into their community. As Dr. Naimou mentioned, we're currently working on this oral storytelling history book where we're conducting interviews with our refugee families on foods or objects of importance that they really hold close to their heart, and we are going to try to connect that within the lived experiences of American integration, photography, and guided storytelling. So during my interview, when I was conducting it with the family that I work with, the mother in the family told me about her favorite food, which is fufu. It's a common African dish that has many different names in various different countries, but it is essentially like a porridge. And so throughout the interview, she spoke to us with other questions and small sentences according to her capacity for English. But when I asked her the last question, what do you wish people knew about your culture based on your food? She gave us the longest consecutive answer in English that she had ever provided us. After living in a society where she was constantly absorbing the dominant culture, she was able to share what she truly wanted others to know. She shared how eating fufu reminded her of how far she had come. She wanted people to be as appreciative of other cultures as she had been of the new one that she had become a part of. She hoped that others, just as she learned to cook with unfamiliar vegetables, would learn more about her culture and embrace it and absorb it into their own lives. And eating fufu reminded her that everything was going to be okay. It is this spirit that ICAR hopes to share and embody with each of our resettled friends, and one of the main reasons why we are here, because we would like to urge you all to open yourself to the transformation that ICAR has provided us. This can be in small things, so you could help with tutoring. Like I mentioned, you don't need prior experience. We have training programs for this, so if that's something you'd be interested in, working with kids or working with parents to help them learn how to use English in everyday life, this could be something that you could get involved with. You can also support our efforts monetarily if this is something that you're capable of, but if none of these are what you are able to do, we hope that you can at least keep us in your hearts and minds and share our work with others through word of mouth in the hopes of getting others involved. So I always like to share this as a parting piece of reflection. As you leave here today, ask yourself what it means for Clemson to be your home through the various organizations that you're a part of, through the people that you know. And you'll come to realize that this concept of welcome is one that means opening the door to someone because you want them to love your home as much as you do. You want them to grace your home with their lived experiences. And this is exactly what ICAR hopes to do, one door, one day, and one welcome at a time. Thank you all so much.
Our closing hymn is a rousing good African American, I believe. We're going to sit at the welcome table. All right. Please rise as you are able. From God's Spirit. Angela and Tulsa will be in the social room, and we have wonderful Near Eastern variety of foods with some Afghan foods included, thanks to John and Barbara. And Janice, I didn't know about that, thank you. And Janice Dieter also. So as I extinguish the chalice, I invite you to take the light with you, carry the light, share the light, be the light. Amen. And blessed be.